Now, you are in a medieval city during the Black Death. At dawn, 3 houses on your street never open because there is no one left alive inside. By noon, a wooden cart covered with rough cloth rolls past your door. By evening, everyone is whispering the same thing. The city gate may be closing. Then someone knocks on your door. It is your neighbor. He says his wife is dying. He begs you for help. Your hand is on the door latch. Your family is standing behind you, silent. This is your first day in a city where the Black Death has arrived, and the first choice you have to make is not whether to run, not whether to buy food, not whether to pray. It is this: do you open the door? The first choice is standing right outside. The man outside is not a stranger. You have known him for years. Yesterday, he was speaking to you on the street. Today, he is standing at your door and his voice has changed. You are about to open it. Then you notice something behind him. On the door of his house, someone has drawn a rough cross in chalk. It does not look like decoration. It looks like prayer, and it also looks like a warning. Someone in that house has the Black Death. He says his wife has a fever. There are dark swellings under her neck. She is in so much pain that she can barely speak. He wants you to find a doctor, or at least help him carry her outside. At first, this feels like a simple moral question. Someone is asking for help. Of course you should help. But this is where the Black Death becomes terrifying. It does not appear in front of you like a monster. It appears as a familiar voice, as a knock on the door, as a sentence you have heard all your life. Please help me. If you open the door and let him in, you may calm his fear, but you may also bring a new danger into your own home. Your family may touch his sleeve. Someone may take the water skin from his hand. Someone may stand exactly where he just stood. You think you are only helping a neighbor, but from that moment on, your home may become a new point of risk. So the real question is not whether you should be kind. The real question is whether your kindness can have a boundary. You can ask what happened. You can tell him where to look for help. You can leave a little food or water outside the door, but you cannot expose the whole house to a danger you do not understand. During a plague, distance is not cruelty. Distance may be the first wall you still have left. The second choice appears at the market. After you close the door, you realize something else. Staying inside does not mean you are safe. There is not much bread left in the house. The water jar is almost empty. If the market closes tomorrow, you may not die from the plague. You may be forced to go outside when the city is even worse. You open the window and see the street beginning to break apart. People are crowding around the bread stall. A fight is starting near the well. A man runs home with a sack of grain in his arms, while someone behind him tries to grab it. And suddenly, you understand. If you do not go out today, there may be nothing left to buy tomorrow. But if you go out now, you must walk into the most crowded, most confused, and most dangerous part of the city. Then you hear the merchants shouting, "Vinegar can block the bad air. Herbs can cleanse a room. Spices can cover the smell of death." In this world, people do not know what bacteria are. They do not know what fleas and rats are carrying. What they fear most is the air. The bad air? The miasma? The smell coming from sick rooms, dead bodies, dirty water, rotten cloth, and sealed streets. Some people stuff herbs into their clothes. Some rub vinegar on their hands. Some burn plants inside their homes, hoping the smoke will keep death away. These things may make you feel like you are doing something, but they cannot turn a crowded market into a safe place. You think you are looking for a way to survive. But for a few pieces of bread, a bottle of vinegar, and a handful of herbs, you may be walking into the most dangerous place in the city. So if you must go outside, your goal has to be narrow. You are not going out to collect rumors. You are not going out to see what is happening. You are not going out to follow the crowd. You take only what will help you leave the house fewer times over the next few days. Then you go home. On this day, what matters most is not how much you bring back. It is how many people you had to touch to get it. During the Black Death, going outside is not a normal errand. It is a gamble. You are not only gambling on whether you can buy food, you are gambling on whether a few pieces of bread are worth bringing the plague back home. The third choice comes from the doctor. At last, you find a doctor, or at least someone who looks like one. He wears heavy clothing. He carries herbs and spices. In his hand, there is a small bottle of vinegar. He tells you to stay away from foul air. He tells you to burn herbs in your house, to use strong smells against the bad air. Then he gives you a stranger piece of advice. Do not take a hot bath. Hot water, he says, opens the pores, and once the pores are open, deadly air can enter the body. That sounds absurd. But in that time, this is not the nonsense of a madman on the street. It is a medical idea that educated people may believe. They do not have microscopes. They do not have germ theory. They explain death through miasma, body humors, astrology, and smells. And you are standing there not knowing whether to believe him. This is the third choice. Do you trust the authority in front of you? The dangerous part is that he is not completely wrong. Staying away from foul rooms, avoiding close contact, and keeping distance from the sick may reduce your risk. But if you explain everything as bad air, you may ignore other invisible dangers. Fleas in clothing, insects in bedding, rats moving through the corners, cloth passed from one person to another, old garments taken out of a sick house. You think burning herbs, closing the windows, and breathing through spices can keep death away. But the real danger may already be hiding where you sleep. So the question is not whether you should laugh at the doctor. In that world, he does not represent stupidity. He represents the best effort people can make with the limited knowledge they have. What you need to do is take what may help you and stay alert to what he cannot see. Do not enter sick rooms unless you must. Do not touch clothing from unknown places. Keep the house as clean as you can. Protect your food. Keep rats away. Do not assume something is safe just because it does not smell bad. On day 1 of the Black Death, authority may give you some help. It may also give you a very reasonable wrong answer. The fourth choice comes at night. After dark, the rumor about the city gate finally changes. It may not close. It has already been guarded by soldiers. People are crying in the street. Some are cursing. Others are quietly making deals. A man finds you and lowers his voice. He says he knows a way out. There is a drainage opening near the city wall. For money, he can take a few people through it. Your heart begins to beat faster, because this sounds like the last chance. But you also know that truly dangerous paths often appear this way. They do not announce themselves as traps. They dress themselves as hope. You would have to follow strangers into the dark. You do not know whether the man really knows the way. You do not know whether soldiers are waiting on the other side. You do not know whether anyone in the group is already sick. And you do not know whether the people outside the city will see you as a survivor, or as someone carrying death with you. Then, another kind of crowd appears in the street. They are not going to the market. They are not going to the gate. They are carrying crosses. They are singing hymns. Some of them are whipping their own backs, saying the plague is a punishment from God, and that suffering is the only way to earn mercy. People kneel beside the road. Others begin whispering that the wells have been poisoned, that the plague must have been brought by outsiders. Fear is looking for an exit. And when a city cannot find the real enemy, it will search for one it can see. This is when your most dangerous instinct appears. Everyone is moving that way. Maybe that is the answer. But during a disaster, a crowd does not always mean direction. Sometimes the crowd is part of the disaster. If you follow the most frightened people, you may be carried toward the gate. If you follow the angriest people, you may become part of a mob. If you follow the most devout people, you may walk straight into a denser crowd. So the question is not whether they look hopeful. The question is whether they have a plan. Where are they going? What is the risk on the road? Who are you taking with you? How much water do you have? And when you get out, who will let you in? If you cannot answer those questions, then escaping the city at night is not a path to safety. It is panic wearing the mask of hope. By the end of the first day, you may fall into one of three situations. The first is the most dangerous. You opened the door and exposed your home to too many people. Then, you rushed into the market. When you heard the gate was guarded, you followed a stranger into the dark. And finally, the rumors and the crowd pulled you wherever they wanted. You may not die today, but you have already placed yourself exactly where the Black Death wants you. Dense crowds, confused streets, bad information, and movement without a plan. The second situation feels safer, but it may trap you later. You are afraid, so you do nothing. You do not open the door. You do not go out. You do not prepare food. You do not judge which information is reliable. You simply lock yourself inside and wait for everything to pass. That sounds safe. But if the water runs out in a few days, if the food runs out, if someone in your house develops a fever, you will still have to go outside. And by then, the city may be worse than it is today. The third situation is not safety, but it gives you a chance. You kept distance. You kept supplies. You kept your strength, and you kept your judgment. You did not treat the city like it was still an ordinary day. You did not expose your whole home just because you wanted to be kind. You did not rush into the densest crowd for a few pieces of bread. You did not mistake vinegar and herbs for real protection. And you did not hand your life to a stranger in the middle of the night. You still do not know whether you can survive the coming weeks, but at least, on day one, you did not place yourself in the most dangerous position. You survived the first day, but the Black Death does not care that you made a few good choices today. Tomorrow, the market may close completely. The well may be surrounded by desperate people. The death carts may become more frequent in the street. Someone you trust may begin to cough. And the worst part is this: the real enemy has no face, no footsteps, no warning. By the time you know where it is, it may already be inside your home. So could you survive day one of the Black Death? Maybe. But first, you would have to understand one thing. The most dangerous thing on this day is not only the disease, it is the choice you make while you are afraid. Surviving day one does not mean the plague has passed you by. It only means you have not made yourself easy to find. So, what would you choose? When your neighbor knocks, do you open the door or not? When the market is almost empty, do you go or stay? When the doctor gives you advice, do you trust him or question him? When someone says he can get you out of the city, do you follow or refuse? Leave your 4 choices in the comments. Let us see who makes it to tomorrow, and who was already lost at the first knock on the door.